Welcome to the interview for the People Assistant. My name's Rachel and I'll be conducting the interview today. I'm a part of the people team who generally deals with the interviews across the whole organisation. Did you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, I'm Liz. I'm currently a people assistant. Yeah, thanks for inviting me here today.
That's okay. Obviously, the job that you'll be interviewing for today is for and basically just to support the whole people team through the whole employee life cycle. So we'll go through some questions that kind of relate to that I'm sure you've had the job description, so we will relate things to that and obviously your experience and stuff. If you could just tell us a bit about your experiences in the job role, and then we will close up with some questions if you have any towards the end. Are you happy with that?
Yes, thank you.
Lovely. Let me just bring up my questions. So first of all, could you give us an example or a time when you have supported like the recruitment process
Sure.
from
Yeah.
maybe
So
like start to finish, maybe like just what you do?
yeah. So it's one of the main parts of my role is recruitment and seeing that process from start to finish. So I normally receive the recruitment request in from the manager. I need to review the job advert that they want to put out and make sure that that's worded correctly and has all the normal information that we have in it. And then I need to post that on our website. And then following that, once we get those applications coming in, then I send those applications over to the manager for shortlisting with some time frames. And then they, once they've shortlisted, then I'll look at sending out notification to the successful candidates so they can book in for their interviews. So they'll get like a link to the place where they can book in. And then we'll send out, sometimes with the applications, they'll need to do an assessment day. So we'll send out information for that as well.
Okay, so it sounds like you do with the job descriptions and stuff.
Sorry, you just broke up then. Could you?
Oh, sorry. Is that any
That's okay.
better? So it sounds like you do everything from start to finish.
Yes. Yeah.
Is this including like the job description, the writing of and getting that signed off as well?
So the job description goes through our job evaluation panel.
Okay.
So I've been part of the job evaluation panel. That's where we work with our union colleagues and we'll go through the evaluation process, score against certain matrix to make sure that it's coming out as the correct banding. So yes, I'm involved in that bit as well. So if it was a new job, then we'd go through that process. If it was an existing job, then we'd use the existing job description.
That sounds good. That sounds like you've got a good overall view of the whole recruitment process within your current job.
Yeah, it's really good because you get to see the whole sort of start to finish. And I enjoy having that interaction with managers and kind of taking them through that journey, really.
Yeah, and I suppose you could sit at the other end. I suppose, do you get involved in when you do end up employing somebody and then obviously them coming into the trust, I suppose, if it was in your team?
Yeah, so we're part of the onboarding process. So we
Okay.
do that initial onboarding and start them off. So it's about getting them having that good start to their career with us.
Yeah, that's a good thing to do to start off on a positive note.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
good. Cool. Something else then. Can you give an example of a time you've had to respond to like a routine query, or you've maybe had to like escalate it to further for a colleague?
Yeah, so I suppose we have the kind of a combination of routine query and escalation. So we have what's called work-related injuries. So
Yeah.
when we get those through, that it'll come through from the manager. I'll need to assess all of the documentation that's come through to make sure that we've got all of the documents, go back to the manager if we're missing anything. And then I'll need to make a recommendation to our senior manager about whether whether it's accepted or not. So I guess that's the point of escalation, is that once I've gathered all of that information from the manager, I've checked it, I've made my recommendation, then I would send that on to our senior manager for them to make an assessment. They look at all of the paperwork, review what I've sent, and then they'll come back to me with a decision, and I'll then follow that up by sending out an outcome letter to the employee.
It sounds like quite a long process, a lot for you to do within that. Like, how do you handle that? Obviously, it seems like quite intense. There's obviously a lot of paperwork, and it's clearly something that's potentially quite important to the employee. So
yes, yeah. So everyone's usually quite keen to find an answer.
Yeah.
They're obviously waiting to hear. It affects their pay. So it's quite an emotive application, I suppose. So it's making sure that you do that as timely as possible, that you that all of the information is gathered, so that you're not otherwise you end up with your manager having to come back to you to say, actually this is missing. So I guess that's an important part of the process, is making sure that I've got everything that they're going to need to be able to make that decision, because if they don't, it's just going to slow down the process. It's just going to create frustration. So yeah, I guess that's about providing good customer service, in the sense that I'm just making sure that I've got everything that I need in order to be able to then send that on to the manager so that they can make a decision. So I guess you've got two customers there in some ways. You've got the employee and the manager themselves, and then the other end of the customer service train, you've got your manager who wants the information in front of them, rather than having to go back and say, oh, I need this or I need that. So yeah. It's quite intense, kind of making sure that everything is balanced and correct.
Yeah, making sure you've got every box ticked before, like you say, send it off, because you don't want to have to make yourself have extra work, having it being sent back to you to do more work just to send it back. And like you say, it is good to have things done in a timely manner for both you, the manager, because they don't want to be wasting their time, and also for the employee, they don't want to be waiting around. And I suppose to just set expectations on all grounds, that's good. Okay, let's maybe look more towards like the people maybe side of things. Can you describe a time when you've worked closely with a team member to deliver a people-related project? Have you been like a part of any projects recently within your work streams, that you've done with other colleagues?
Yes. So I recently worked with our Freedom to Speak Up manager on a people policy. So that was the reservist policy that we currently have, and we were looking to make some improvements to the policy, so that we could achieve a higher standard in terms of the award that we receive for the policy. So there's a bronze, silver, and gold award, and at the time we were on bronze award. So there were some changes that we had to make. For example, increasing the amount of holiday that we gave to our reservists. So for the armed forces, so they get a certain amount of paid holiday. It involved looking at other NHS organisations, so we could have a look and see what they were doing in terms of their reservist and their armed forces group, to make sure that we were offering best practice. So I put that together, talked that through with our Freedom to Speak Up manager, and then we got sign off from our deputy director. And then that had to go to a PRAG meeting, which is a policy review.
Alignment.
I've forgotten.
Great.
Alignment group. Yes, that one. So that's where we meet with unions, and they give feedback on our policies. We got some good feedback, so that was great. Everyone was happy. There were a couple of things that I hadn't picked up on, where it was part of the policy that I hadn't changed, so I hadn't necessarily given it as much attention to the bits that I had changed, if that makes sense. So there was some feedback from unions so the changes that we've made have been received positively, but there was some feedback on things that I hadn't picked up on. So it was good to get that feedback.
I was going to say, how did you feel about getting that feedback? Because obviously sometimes feedback can be positive, but it also can be negative. Feedback's always good, I think, in the sense of it can only make us better. But yeah, how did it, obviously in that policy alignment group, I'm guessing there is a lot of individuals and you're probably putting this policy together and potentially putting out to a lot of people to maybe have that feedback in front of people might not be. How did you feel you dealt with that?
I suppose initially it was just frustrating because I suppose it wasn't part of the changes that I'd made. So I was kind of like, oh, that's kind of, it was easily missed. So it was frustrating in that sense. But it was fair feedback. And I think on looking back at it on reflection, I can see where I've gone wrong, and therefore, I can put that into practice in future. So I feel that that's something that I've learned from. So now when I'm reviewing policies, I'm not just thinking about the specific changes that I'm making. I just make sure that I've reviewed properly, that I've spent sufficient time on the policy as a whole, not just the things that we're changing, if that makes sense. That you're not relying on that existing policy to be right. You need to check the whole thing. So yeah, it's something that I've taken on board and used in my practice going forward.
That's really good to hear. Yeah, no, that's great. And it sounds like you do a lot of policy and I'm sure there's lots of policies that need attention and everything. So is it something you enjoy?
Yeah.
Policy writing and
I do actually. I do like the policy. Yeah, and I like working with other managers on it. And it's just a chance to sort of have, obviously some of the stuff I do, it's just nice to have that kind of higher level thinking sometimes in terms of strategy and in terms of the policy changes are about making things in general, making things better for employees or making things better to understand for managers, making things clearer, improving our processes. So it feels like it's quite a positive thing to do. It can be a lot of work, but it's, you can get some really good positive things out of that. So that's good. I enjoy doing it.
Oh, that's good. Right, let's go on to, I think, maybe my final question. Can you just talk me through a time when you've handled some like confidential or sensitive employee information and like maybe how you've been able to keep it within compliance and data protection and stuff and how you've managed to do that within a job role?
Yeah, so I handle sensitive information on a regular basis, really. So it's something that I do all the time in my job. So I need to be aware of data protection. So, for example, one of the things we do on a regular basis is we send out stage 3 sickness packs. So what we'll do with those is we'll send them out first of all secure as a secure email, and then also we'll password protect them. And the reason for that being is that some of the information that we're sending out is particularly sensitive. So for example, we'll send out if they've had an occupational health report as part of the pack we send out, that includes that occupational health report. So
me or
you okay?
For a minute then I'm just going to move just down here. Maybe my Wi-Fi will be better down here. Sorry, could I just ask you to repeat that last bit? Sorry.
Yeah,
Liz.
no, that's fine. So I was just saying about the stage 3 pack that we password protect, and part of the reason of that is one of the main reasons really is the sensitivity of the occupational health report that we send out. So by password protecting it, it means that if by any chance it went to the wrong person, which obviously we always are careful to ensure it doesn't. I double check all of my which email I'm sending it to, but you never know when things can go wrong. So we password protect things like the pack, because then if it does go to the wrong person, they don't know the other person's date of birth. They don't know who the other person is, so they can't access that occupational health report. So that's quite important to help. Because humans make mistakes, and it's just about having that extra bit of protection to avoid really sensitive data, because as you can imagine, there are occupational health reports, as I'm sure you know, have really sensitive information in them sometimes, and it's just making sure, just having that extra bit of protection to make sure.
Yeah, and I suppose as an employee receiving that, knowing that the organization is taking their data seriously, that they are protecting your data, that it does look good for them, that they haven't just sent it because of the what ifs, and they could have sent it to, there could be two George Smiths, or there could be two Liz Edmondsons or something, you know. So yeah, that's a good thing to do, and yeah, that probably sets a little bit of trust between the employer and the employee from both sides, that they are looking after their data.
Yeah, absolutely. So I do other bits as well. So I do, when we get stuff through from information governance, for example, they ask us to check through, they'll redact the information, and then we need to check through and make sure that that's all been done correctly before it gets sent out. So it's something that I do quite often, and I think is always really at the forefront of what we do as a team, really.
Quite a time-consuming job, would you say, having to go through? Because I presume some of the packs that, you know, that are related to some either disciplinaries or grievances or anything like that, they can be quite meaty, should we say.
Yeah.
And they're probably quite a lot to digest as well, to have to go through it. It's probably quite, do you find it quite a long task? Do you find you need to take breaks, or are you able to, how do you feel with those kind of tasks?
Yeah, they can be, it can take some time, and it's just about scheduling that into the calendar, so making sure that you've made the time to do that. I find it the quickest way to do it is to try and do it all in one, rather than sort of doing dribs and drabs here and there. So I'll put something in my calendar for it. I'll put myself on do not disturb, and then I can give it some concentrated attention. It also means that way, if it's in your calendar, then it's not something that's going to get pushed back. I think it's one of those, it's about juggling priorities, isn't it? And when people are emailing in and asking questions, sometimes things like this kind of task can get pushed to the bottom of the pile. So it's important that it's actually scheduled in the calendar, so that it doesn't get missed, and it doesn't kind of get pushed and delayed, because information governance will have a time scale on when it needs to be sent out by. So I normally schedule that in to my calendar so that we make sure we get it back in time for information governance to meet their deadlines.
Yeah, that's a good way to work your calendar, and like you say, put yourself on do not disturb, so you're not feel like you're being pulled hit left, right, and centre. You have got dedicated time to put towards that as employees case for it. Like, yeah. Okie dokie. No, that sounds really good. Thank you for that insight.
That's okay.
One other thing, that if I just go back to the job description, it's not on any of my questions, but just looking through the job description, one of the key tasks that you might be asked to do is to potentially note take if required for any hearings. If any of, say, the admin support team can't do it, would you be happy to step in and support the other end of the team and note take if you had space in your diary, if it was at short notice, I presume. But how do you feel about note taking and like typing? And sometimes they do go quickly. People talk fast.
Yeah, no, that's not a problem. I'm happy to note take. So yeah, I've note taken before. More than happy to do that as part of the team.
No, that sounds great. Having someone in the team who is supportive of not just their own role or their immediate team, but for the whole team and the whole structure, especially the people team, we all try to work as one, and that's, you know, that's what we're looking for in an individual to join our team. So that's great. I'm not really too sure on time, or when how are you feeling about time? I think we're kind of near enough. I've had all my questions that I would have liked to have asked you, so thank you for that. Have you got any questions for me or about the job or the job description?
Yes, I suppose in terms of development, is there training? Are there training courses I can do as part of the role?
Yeah, as a team, we do try and have we almost have in-house training and everything as well, but we do try and meet as a team to try and divulge we do lots of case studies and stuff around. So there is a lot of like development and knowledge that's put out towards the team. And then there are further stuff. I mean, to do your level 3 or your level 5 in your CIPD, we can look at the apprenticeships and stuff going forward, but that would have to happen after probation. So we'd have to do your
Right.
probation first, get that signed off, and then
Yes.
we can look at developing you, and we can do that within appraisals with one-to-ones. But yes, that's definitely something we do offer our staff within the team and the wider
Amazing.
organisation as well.
Thank you. And when do you think when do you think you'll be able to get back to me to let me know if I've been successful?
So it's quite late towards the end of the day today.
It
And tomorrow is Friday. So I will try and get a calling with the team, because I think we have now nearly completed all of the interviews that we had for this post. So I would like to put a maximum time on it for 7 days, just because then we can have our shortlisting and we can go through all the interviews and the scoring. So I would say maximum, but hopefully you will hear something by late Monday or early Tuesday, if that works for you.
Great. That's
And how
super.
would you like us to contact you? Would you like a phone call? I mean, I can Teams you, we can put something in the diary. How's best to contact you?
Yeah, a phone call would be good actually.
Yeah?
Thank you if that's okay.
Yeah, that sounds great.
Always, yeah, that would be great. Thank you.
Lovely. Lovely. Well, if you've got no more questions and I'm happy as well, then we will leave it that, and I will hopefully speak to you early next week.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks. Bye.
How do I stop recording?
I think